tifu by putting my mother in a VR headset. Okay. For some context. I bought an Oculus Quest 2 on launch and I've loved it ever since. Beside the Facebook privacy issues, I've been playing many games, including Job Simulator, Beat Saber and Rec Room. I wanted to share this experience with others. Now for the story. I was at family dinner with my two older brothers, their girlfriends and my parents. I took out my Quest 2. And everyone wanted to try it. We were all having fun and playing Beat Saber and Super Hot, etc. Everyone except my parents. My dad didn't want to try it at all, because he knew what would happen. My mom decided to try. She puts on the headset, and I launch Job Simulator for her. So, she chooses the gourmet chef job, and tries to wash her hands in the virtual sink. Now, for those of you who don't know, Oculus headsets have this thing called a guardian boundary. Basically, a room boundary set by the player to keep them from bumping into things. However, my mom completely ignores this and slams into the entertainment center, chest first. Thankfully, neither the headset or TV broke, but my mom had obtained a somewhat fractured rib. She was in pain for a couple days, and I was constantly apologetic. Moral of the story: be aware of your surroundings in both the virtual and real world. TL. Dr. Mom plays VR, but accidentally disregards game boundary and falls into TV stand and fractures her rib. My nephew punched my wife in the tit playing a VR boxing game. She just walked into the room and stood right in front of him and looked at me like I was mental when I was telling her to move out the way. I didn't wait for VR. I punched my sister in the head while playing boxing on Wii Sport back when it came out. She tried to walk between me and the TV, which I was playing quite close from. And because she was like 6 she just went right trough without warning me. I got punched by a friend playing iToy on PS2. As did I. Man. Here I thought you were gonna say she found your porn stash, haha. I was expecting something porn related too. I watched my wife look like she was playing dodgeball. Almost did a body roll while playing Robo Recall. It didn't help that I died at a really intense part and handed the headset to her as she walked into the room. She'd never done VR. It was comedy gold. I can't think of anything better to do after a hard day's work than to come home and play Job Simulator. It's a game where you're surrounded by robots trying to simulate human behavior. It's pretty funny. Agreed, LOL. After completing all the jobs, it's still kind of fun to play. I think the F up is more on your mom. She ignored your warning about the barrier. I got punched in the face by my baby sister for pulling out 3 draw 4s on her. Good times. Didn't Uno come out and say that you can't stack multiple draw cards? Respectfully, Uno is wrong. There are serious dangers to VR. Like, say one of your friends is in VR. Not knowing what to do, you think rationally. Naturally your mind says shoot him in the balls with Nerf guns at point blank range because he can't defend himself. And who are you to disagree with your mind? Now that I put this on paper, I realize I'm beeped up. Nah, that's a good prank space. Just one with potential injury. Like scaring someone who's standing on a ledge. Oh phew, I'm not the only one. I've seen videos of people legitimately jumping face first and smashing into things as if the virtual world is their real one, and I just want to know what's going on inside their head at that moment. Immersed, LOL. One of my kids tried to lean on a virtual table and the other tried to sit in a virtual chair. LOL. Dad knew. My kid keeps asking me to try it but I get motion sickness in minutes, so I've been saying no thanks. Now I need to worry about my ribs. LOL. LOL. Just don't ignore the warning systems and you will be fine. Think of it like a car. If some new light comes on, you better figure out what it means or you might break something. Motion sickness does get better as your body adapts to it. But the key is to start with games you can handle. Something like Beat Saber is a lot of fun and actually very good for motion sickness because the world never moves around you for any reason. The other factors is frame rate. So if even Beat Saber doesn't work for you, a more expensive headset, possibly connected to a PC, might help. All this is assuming you want to participate. VR is an amazing experience, especially in COVID times. But there is nothing wrong with bot being interested. I remember when the town I live in had a VR place. I used to go there all the time with friends. Although, I must say, people forgetting about the boundary and accidentally hitting a wall or someone was almost always a given. I know the owner of Rec Room. How do you like it? It's quite great, LOL. I don't know about this. When you walk out the boundary, the pass-through turns on, in turn turning the game off and showing you what's in real life via the cameras. Sounds to me like your guardian was set very wrong and allowed her to crash into something. Punched my cat in the face. I'm super hot. I will never forgive myself. Yeah. How dare you be hot? I remember when I went to try VR at a mall and straight up fist peeped the wall when playing super hot as there was a red behind me. So I looked, quickly turned and lunged at it at full force. Little did I know there was a wall. LOL, I don't have to worry about this. For some reason VR makes me am going to vomit the second I put it on. My boyfriend was so excited to show me his VR thingy, but I tapped out in less than a minute. It's so weird for me because there are a few factors that change if I feel nauseous or not. If I jump into a game with a lot of moving around before getting used to the change, I'll get sick. I have to make sure I don't eat anything heavy or have a full belly too. Other times I'm good. My mother tried to sit down on one of the bean bags in the ripped house thing they had. Mad woman. You really need to be there to help new players not hurt themselves when using VR the first time. Yeah, literally need to be there like a spotter for a gymnast. When my stepbrother tried to play Skyrim VR on my PSVR the first time, he was trying to grab an item out of a cart, and tried to lean his weight onto the cart to reach into it. There was no cart in front of him. Thankfully, my headset wasn't damaged. Looking into getting a Quest 2 but for PC gaming. Do you know if you have to sign in to play on PC? The privacy stuff is what is holding me back. You have to have a Facebook account for all present-day Oculus headsets, unfortunately. I would recommend looking into Valve Index if it isn't out of your budget. Foolish mortal. Forgot to set up Guardian Boundary. I set up the Guardian Boundary, LOL. She just didn't know what it was and completely walked through it. Oh, got it? The amount of people that instantly forget they are still in the real world once you put them in VR makes me have little faith in humanity. You just put the headset on, stop trying to run around the house. TL. DR guy is more worried about his replaceable headset and TV than his mother. Yeah, you didn't explain the situation to your mother and she finished up really hurt. What did you do to try to mitigate what you did? When a big flashing mesh wall flashes in front of you, do you leap into as hard as possible? It's your mother, dude. You have to look after her as she is old. My mother, unfortunately, needs more and more each year. To start with, she seemed annoying as it seemed she just didn't listen. As time went on, I realized I had no right to be annoyed as she was just older and not as quick as she once was. It's really sad to watch a woman who was so witty become a bit slower. Not up, I have a headset and even my most oblivious amped up friends have hopped into Beat Saber or Super Hot and ran around and never hit a thing. It's pretty hard to be so oblivious. Yeah. That's why it's so sad to see your parents struggling. Dude, I could write a similar story with my parents. Problem is they are both 42 and 45. What's your story to put the blame on me then? We don't know how old Op's parents are. Op's mother could be as young as 40 and we wouldn't know. All you're doing is being butthurt because you assume their age. Oh, you know their age? Sauce. I thought you might be assuming too. Undefined. Maybe it runs in the family. Your mother is slow. You're slow. Etc. She wasn't slow until she hit 80 years old. She actually isn't slow now. Just slower than she was. They get slower each year after a certain age. You will experience it in your loved ones one day. You really don't have any self-awareness, do you?